Hey everyone, welcome to Life Likes and Landing Pages, aka the 3L podcast. This is a second bonus episode I'm doing for the episode about your message and your marketing strategy, just because it's a topic that I get so excited about. So yeah, just because Gayle and I were talking in our main episode on Wednesday, and we were talking about how basically I made like a couple of analogies to film, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Like we were talking about how Gandalf and Obi-Wan Kenobi were like the mentors of that of those movies, and you are the mentor in or guide in your client's life. Like we help them move maybe through next chapter, maybe to through the whole life. Like it kind of depends on what you're doing. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about, what we can learn from Hollywood, so to speak, about how you can create impactful, creative, and fun copy for your marketing. And it all starts really, and this is one of my favorite parts about writing, is character development. But before I start that, maybe we should talk a little bit about why I'm talking about this. I studied journalism, and I found out that I actually didn't really like the straight factual reporting. I like more the creative, like emotional side of it. It's funny because when I read it, I think the factual journalism is super, super, super important, especially now when things aren't clear. You want it to be as factual as possible with as least amount of emotion in there. However, writing, I like the emotional side. So it only makes sense for me to graduate in creative writing. And after that, I went to do a screenwriting course on the New York at the New York Film Academy in Los Angeles. And so I just love creative writing. It's one of my favorite things to do. And the favorite thing to do when it comes to creative writing is character development. And character development, we'll do a whole episode about this later, because I feel like I can talk about this for hours and hours. I'll try to keep it under 10 minutes. But character development, what you do during character development is you basically think about who your characters are. And you can think about character like very one-dimensional, like what's their gender, what age are they, where are they from, and are they married, right? That feels very one-dimensional. It's what you fill in when you go to get your driver's license. But that's not who you are. I grew up in the Netherlands. That's not who I am, although I do identify as Dutch. Like I feel like Dutch is the closest to who I am. I live in Australia. Still, it doesn't identify me because my family is still in the Netherlands, so that feels still like a home. I'm 34. Technically, if I go by society standards, I would be married and have kids and have bought a home and have a mortgage and have a lot of debt. I don't have any of those things. I have a partner and a cat, so it's a little different from doing that. So again, that already sounds a little bit more two-dimensional, right? Okay, so she doesn't have kids. She has a cat. She doesn't live where she was born, but it still doesn't feel like a three-dimensional, like a real life person. And that is because we haven't talked about what drives me, my fears, my dreams. So when you talk about character development, you go into that part quite a bit. You are going to talk about like what drives them, what scares them, what does the guide need to do to get them from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. And there's a couple of like very classic Hollywood stories structures in there. So one of the thing is like they get a call to action. So something happens in their life that makes them that they need to get into action, but they refuse it. So they refuse a call to action. And then something happens that kind of raises the stakes for them. Doesn't matter what that is, but kind of something raises the stakes, and all of a sudden they're like, you know, I have to do this. I accept the call to action. And that's basically when the second act kicks in, and when the character really starts developing. So before the first act, he is in his current life, his current world, they know who they are. So if you're talking about your clients, what you're trying to sell is not the product, it's not the service. You're trying to sell them the transformation, right? You're trying to take them on that journey with you. So basically, you are the one that makes them accept their call to action. Whatever happens that made them first refuse it. It could be too much money, not enough time. You know, maybe they have a different job. Maybe they're, I don't know. Could be 1,000 reasons, right? So you need to understand who they are before they get that call to action. Again, what's their life? What cultural things are very important, right? So in humor can be very different in different cultures. Some cultures root more in respect, while other cultures root more in like the efficiency of things. Those are all very, very important things to keep in mind. But yes, it is, you need to understand who they are before they get the call to action. What is their normal life? And then what I said, the one-dimensional things, you know, like who are they? Where do they live? What gender are they? What sexuality are they? Could come into play. It's part of what makes the character in your audience like three-dimensional. So you need to know who they are before they get the call to action, because then when you know who they really are, you can understand what they need to get to where they want to go. So if you're, I don't know, if you're a fitness coach and you want help people losing weight, right? Before they get the call to action to change, to get to the point where they want to lose weight, it could be, I mean, it could be anything, right? It could be a health issue, clothes that don't fit, maybe they're getting married, maybe they had kids and now they're ready to work on themselves. Like those are all different things. And it roots in very different situations for your audience. And you need to understand what that means for your audience, what kind of character they are also, so you can help them get to the point where they've lost the weight and they keep the weight off. And for some people, that might be working out and maybe a little bit of tough love. And for other people, that might be taking trauma into consideration. It's a very different approach, but you have the same outcome, but it's a very different approach. And that's something when you look at Hollywood or like the bigger pictures, they follow that pattern. So they have the call to action, and there is a big arch in the middle of the movie. And then something happens, and that's the climax, and that's where the new version of that person really steps into its own, and they really become that other person, that new person. And so you want to help them make that transformation. So again, you need to understand where they are before they get to call to action. You need to understand how you can get them from refused the call to action to accepting the call to action. Until they actually, you know, get to the climax and reach their goals. And a lot of the things, sorry, a lot of the things are, Victor is playing with my headphones, just, he's like right here. He hates me now. So that's a really important for you to understand, because it has an effect in your messaging, it has an effect on your brand voice and everything that you creatively talk to them about. Because all your communications, all your posts, all your sales pages, all your emails can move that person from the call to action to the end of their transformation. And that's kind of what I wanted to explain to you here. what you can learn from Hollywood. And if you want to know more about it, I'll link a few resources about how Hollywood structures their films, because the bigger pictures and especially Pixar films, they really follow this pattern, and it makes for a wonderful story. So why would we not use that to structure our marketing and structure our relationship with our clients? If you thought it was interesting, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. If you thought this was complete, like, utter nonsense, also let me know. And we will talk about this a little more down the line with Gayle, and give you a little more tips on how you can create that perfect buyer's persona based on character development that we use in creative writing. Again, if you thought this episode was helpful, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Like, follow, share, whatever, wherever you are. And I hope to see you in our next episode. Bye.